wpxi.com for details.
Hello and welcome to Talking Pittsburgh. A Pittsburgh native has authored a book about a Hungarian immigrant who rose up from nothing to become one of the most powerful men in the history of American journalism. Terrence Crimmins is here to tell us all about the rags to riches story of Joseph Pulitzer. Thanks for coming on today, Terrence.
Thanks for having me, Jonas.
Who knew that the name Pulitzer would go on to adorn the most coveted award in journalism?
Well, hardly anyone at the time. That happened after his death. It was part of his will that the Pulitzer Prizes came about.
What was so unusual about Pulitzer?
Well, you've already said a lot of it, that he was, a rags to riches story, arrived here barely speaking English on a fluke, and rose up to change newspapers.
Well, it sounds like a lot of the stuff he did back then is going on now in terms of yellow journalism, sensationalism, and whatever. What did he do that was new for newspapers?
Well, he was the first one to make ordinary people read newspapers. Before him, newspapers were only for the upper crust. One of his more memorable quotes is, "You can't preach to empty pews." And so he had the banner headlines and the stories about murder and divorce and all these things to get ordinary people to read newspapers, to give them political power. That was his goal.
And there were other interesting newspaper men back then, too.
Oh, there certainly were. The book contains a whole cast of characters. James Gordon Bennett, who drunkenly disgraced himself at his own engagement party, and so he fled to France to avoid the social ignominy and ran the Herald via telegram after that. William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, people think he was the first sensationalist. It's not true. It was Pulitzer. Hearst actually dropped out of Harvard and went and worked for Pulitzer briefly before he went to San Francisco and started running the Chronicle. So he copied Pulitzer's method, and they were both innovative.
Was Pulitzer ahead of his time?
Oh, very much so, very much so. He, in the Democratic Party, the party then was very different. It was a party of farmers and miners, and he was the first major journalist to say they should go to the inner city and the immigrants as their voting base, and they didn't do that effectively until 20 years after his death.
We've got less than a minute left. What should Pulitzer be remembered for?
Well, I think he's, what he said, the red thread of journalism. He thought it was the media's duty to inform people of the injustices that were being done to them, and his life is a mighty struggle to achieve that goal.
Where can you purchase the book?
Oh, well, at some local bookstores, including Classic Lines in Squirrel Hill, or on Amazon.com and other electronic sites.
And you can email Terry at terry2com@yahoo.com, or go to the website at terrencecrimmins.com. You can also phone 617-605-4522. That's Talking Pittsburgh for this week. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Catch the bus